The first step towards finding a solution to a problem is to accept, admit and acknowledge that the problem exists. If one lives on denial mode, one does harm to oneself. Well, we reiterate we are in the midst of a crisis, the coronavirus crisis. It has affected the entire globe terribly and India is no exception. In order to find the presence of the virus in one's body, one has to undergo a test. The more the tests, the better. Especially in a country like India with a dense population, testing is the only way to estimate the cases and understand at what stage we are in. Well, a few days ago, the top court in the country, that is the Supreme Court, made it mandatory for both government as well as private labs to conduct free tests. Private hospitals, including labs, have an important role to play in containing the scale of the pandemic by extending philanthropic services in the hour of national crisis, the Supreme Court said. While the tests at government labs were free, the government had capped the fee at 4,500 rupees per person. But as the interim order of the top court was pronounced, there was and is a lot of hue and cry over the issue. Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, MD of Biocon, said, Supreme Court orders all coronavirus tests to be made free, a judgment that will severely affect testing. Private labs simply cannot be expected to run their businesses on credit. Humanitarian in intent but impractical to implement. I fear testing will plummet, Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, MD of Biocon, said. Well, Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw and people like her have openly said that free testing by private labs free of cost is simply no solution. They cite reasons like running costs, paying lab technicians, rent, equipment and material costs. They even add that insurance companies should pitch in with a bid to lessen the burden on diagnostic centers. And there were more criticisms in the way. Some even said it was a judicial overreaction. The court's order reads more like a firman than a populist politician who's ignorant of constitutional scheme than a judicial order of the Supreme Court. It is an embarrassing example of judicial overreaction. Unelected judges do not get to decide how public or private money is spent. We elect our politicians to do that job, the lawyer said. Well, these are truly very harsh words. The Supreme Court said that philanthropy was an integral part of such private labs and they had to pitch in. But what is the way out? If one goes on ruminating on the subject and to extricate the private labs out of this mess, one converges on the CSR or corporate social responsibility aspect. We feel government or corporates through their CSR, that is corporate social responsibility funds, should reimburse 2,000 to 2,500 rupees to private labs so that their material costs are recovered. Alternatively, ICMR or state governments should provide testing kits, sample collection materials and PPEs for private labs to do free testing. Also, MRP for PCR kits, RNA extraction kits, VTM sample tubes should be fixed too. GSK Velu, Newburgh Diagnostics CEO, said. For a country like India with a gargantuan population, testing is inevitable. The more the tests, the better. It is only after testing that the treatment starts. And there are others who say that the government should reimburse the private labs as well as the owners of these private labs must talk to the government and hasten the process of reimbursement. 4,500 rupees per test is humongous and exorbitant. For example, a family of 4 with one earning member has to spend 4,500 into 4 rupees, that is 18,000 rupees to get themselves tested. Naturally, if they can't afford it, they would not get themselves tested, putting an entire society in danger. In countries like Germany, many private labs have come forward to offer their services during this crisis. In India too, private labs play a crucial role as an auxiliary and ancillary unit. We request them to sort out these issues with the government and continue to provide free testing. We do understand they have practical problems, but if they don't pitch in, the matters will only get worse.